Welcome to the Great Basin Prescribed Fire and Smoke Transport Briefing for Friday, December 1st. As a reminder, this will be our last webcast for the year. We will resume webcasts in January on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Over the last 7 to 14 days, we've continued to have some storm systems move across the area, mainly over the eastern half of the region, bringing some areas of above normal precipitation to southern Idaho and parts of Utah. Still very dry areas include central Idaho into Wyoming and also southern Nevada. However, these conditions up north will be changing here over the next week. New snowfall over the last 72 hours is indicated here on the left, and you can see with the latest storm system that's moving through the Great Basin, we have had some recent new snowfall to parts of the higher terrain of the Sierra into northern and central Nevada, but we do have showers moving through northern Utah this morning. The snow depth is indicated on the right, and you can see from the percent of normal, most areas are still below normal for snowpack for the time of year. The satellite loop from this morning shows the current trough of low pressure moving through the eastern half of the Great Basin. You can see the clouds on the satellite image and also associated shower activity over northern areas of Utah this morning. These are cold systems, and most areas will be seeing snowfall even down to the lower elevations. For later today, again, you can see the storm system continues to track east into eastern Utah, so continued clouds and showers associated with this storm system will continue tracking eastward. We will continue with cloud cover over western areas of Nevada, even though precipitation will not be occurring in those areas as another storm system approaches the region. Otherwise, dispersion will remain good across Nevada and Utah as transport winds are elevated and slightly less further north. So transport winds again over the northern half of Nevada into the higher terrain of Utah will generally be gusting in the 30 to 40 mile per hour range or higher in some of the higher peaks, so mixing heights will be relatively high across the region. Temperatures will drop a couple of degrees today, but generally remain with highs in the 30s or 40s across much of the region and highs in the 20s in the higher terrain up north. Relative humidity will remain above 20% region-wide. As we move into Saturday, this first system continues to track east into the plains. We do have another system moving across the northern half of the region, so continued cloud cover over much of the northern two-thirds of the Great Basin. But the better chances for shower activity will be up north across Idaho, Wyoming, into Utah and northern Nevada. Otherwise, dispersion will still remain good across much of the region as transport winds remain elevated, with the exception of the far north. Transport winds again remain fairly gusty over the northern half of the region with moderate to high mixing heights. Temperatures will actually improve a few degrees over western and southern areas as this trough tracks further to the east, and we will see highs generally in the 30s and 40s with some 50s. Relative humidity still remains high across the region with the exception of the far south, which will be somewhere around 25%, so still high for the time of year. As we move through Sunday, this storm system continues to move off to the east, but we will have additional moisture pushing into the Great Basin as this next storm system moves across the north, so still clouds across much of the northern half of the region. Otherwise, dispersion will be on the decline as this system moves by to the east and we see high pressure ridging building in next week. Transport winds will still remain breezy over the northern half of the region, but not quite as gusty as the next couple of days. And mixing heights still moderate to high with the exception of southern and western areas of Nevada where mixing heights will continue to decrease. Temperatures will be on the rise over western and southern areas and even rise a couple of degrees across the rest of the Great Basin, relative humidity still remaining high. Forecast amounts of precipitation are indicated here for the next 3 days. The better chances of heavier precipitation will be across central and southwest Idaho into Wyoming and parts of northern Utah, with more scattered lighter showers over the remainder of the northern half of the region. There will even be a few light showers over southern and eastern Utah. As we move into Monday, high pressure starts to build into the west, but still some moisture spilling across the top of the ridge will continue across Idaho and Wyoming with some clouds and showers. As we move into Tuesday, this ridge continues tracking eastward across the Great Basin and by Wednesday pushes into the Rockies with another approaching area of low pressure moving across the north. So we will see drier conditions across much of Nevada and Utah going into next week, but we will see some showers and occasional clouds especially move across Idaho. Otherwise, dispersion will remain poor going through the early part of next week, so prescribed burning. We will see increased inversions again going into the early part of next week, especially with the new snowfall from today going through the weekend. And on Thursday, continued that ridge of high pressure dominates the Great Basin with, again, systems approaching the north. So our precipitation for early next week, no surprise with the ridge moving in, drier conditions for Nevada and Utah and the Arizona Strip, and any moisture will be kind of spilling over the top of this ridge into parts of central Idaho and possibly Wyoming. Going into mid to late next week, as this ridge of high pressure starts to move off to the east, we will see a better chance of moisture increasing for Idaho and possibly into northern Nevada and the Sierra. And the 7-day total precipitation, obviously good increases to the snowpack finally for central Idaho, which has really been out of this precipitation much over the last few weeks. So we will see improving snowpack up north, also into eastern Idaho and Wyoming, and then parts of northern Utah. Further south, again, limited precipitation and many dry areas over the southern half of Nevada. The 8 to 14-day outlook, taking us from December 8th through the 14th, shows possibly above normal precipitation over northern areas, but still drier conditions down south and warmer temperatures. So we are moving and continuing into El Nino through the winter, so we haven't really seen that pattern shift yet. That will likely take place as we approach January. That concludes our webcast for today. Again, as a reminder, this will be the last webcast for this year. We will resume these webcasts in January, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Have a great year.